constituents that attended the constituent-organized town hall last Saturday. That's right. In addition, we'll be delivering some USB sticks that contain photographs as well as a highlight reel from the town hall so that the senators who missed the event will be, which I don't think they did. Bottom line, we want to make sure that they hear our voices. And this time, we'll also be asking Senators Murray and Cantwell to organize a town hall for us for the April recess so that we don't have to. Oh, that's right. It is their job to do that. And this Saturday, nearly 700 people who showed up and made their voices heard in a peaceful, respectful, and productive way, and made it clear that there is an overwhelming need for the senators to show up and hear their constituents' concerns, stories, questions, face to face. Because these aren't normal times, and it cannot be business as usual. No. We know they're busy, and we know that meeting with small groups behind closed doors is fine, but it's only fine if they also make time for a public forum where regular people, like all of us out here, can participate too. We don't want to be left out of the conversation. In this scary day and age, it's high time that we start communicating better. Us with the senators, and the senators with us.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, today we've got 5 great speakers. Kay Kite, who'll be talking about impeaching Trump. Nathan, who'll talk about the Muslim ban and why we need to support our vulnerable communities. Tina, who will be discussing the decades-old tradition of town halls in American democracy. Tom, who will be talking about white terrorism against the Jewish community. And Rachel Greenlee, who will talk about holding cabinet nominees accountable, especially Attorney General Sessions. So while we're out here, we do have a sign-in sheet circulating around, so please do sign in so that we can follow up with you regarding future rallies and events. And so, do we have Kate in the audience? Come on up, Kate.
Yeah.
Woo. Sure.
Hi, I'm Kay Kite. I'm a retired teacher, 25 years in the classroom.
We can't hear you louder.
Okay, would it be easier if I hold it? Okay.
You can also just unclip the mic. That might be easiest.
Okay, how's that? Yeah. All right. I'm Kay Kite, 25 years in the classroom, retired now, so I'm not skipping school to be here. Am I there now? Hello?
Yeah.
All right. From the moment
You have to
hold the trigger.
keep pressing it.
Go with this. From the moment he assumed the office, President Donald Trump has been in direct violation of the Constitution. The president is not above the law. We will not allow President Trump to profit from the presidency at the expense of our democracy. Impeach Trump now. 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 We are calling upon Congress to pass a resolution calling for the House Committee of the Judiciary to investigate whether sufficient grounds exist for the impeachment of Donald Trump. And we know they're there. Emulsions. Impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. As of January 20th, 2017, President Trump's refusal to divest from his business interests have placed him in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution. Impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. I'm really happy on the inside. That's why I wore the pink. He needs to divest his business interests. Given the opportunity, he needs to divest his business interests. He chose instead to announce just 9 days before inauguration a totally inadequate plan to step away from operations, but not ownership or income streams of the Trump organization. Instead, he has chosen to profit from the presidency at public expense in violation of the United States Constitution.
Impeach Trump now!
Impeach Trump now! Impeach Trump now! We urge our legislators, when we get to see them, to encourage and support our work to bring Donald Trump to justice.
Impeach Trump now!
Impeach Trump now! Impeach Trump now!
Impeach
Trump now, yeah. Many of you have seen me at these before, taking a petition around, a petition from an organization called Impeach Trump Now. They have gathered over 900,000 signatures, and yes, you've probably signed some of these things online, but it's real impressive when they go into the senators' offices, as they have done already, with one enormous group of piles of papers. So even if you've signed online many times, please sign when I pass the petitions around, and even better, please take some of the petitions from me and start gathering your own and mailing them in. They're going directly to the Senate, and we're going to impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. Impeach Trump now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. That's a pretty clear message I think we can all get behind. Next up, we got Nathan on the Muslim ban. Come on up, Nathan.
It's not just Muslims, it's Syrians too.
All right, yes. Hello there. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about the immigration ban. Is that better? Yeah. All right, now we're getting into this thing. So yesterday, George Bush spoke out against Trump's immigration ban. You know things are getting bad when George Bush is the voice of reason. So a lot of this is going to be old news, but I'm just kind of like recap some stuff that has happened. In January, Trump made an executive order banning 8 countries from the United States. So he banned Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. Since 1975, not a single one of these countries has committed a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, not one. Muslim countries not affected by the ban were Turkey, I don't know how to pronounce this, Azerbaijan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. And these are all countries that Trump does business with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not a good thing. Okay, so let's talk about Saudi Arabia for a second.
Louder.
So, Trump registered 8 companies tied to hotel interests in Saudi Arabia shortly before launching his campaign in 2015. Saudi Arabia is said to be the world's largest bankroller of Salafist jihadism, which forms the ideological basis of terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS, and others. Donors in Saudi Arabia constitute the most significant source of funding to Sunni terrorist groups worldwide. In fact, 15 out of 19 9/11 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. So let's call this what this is. This isn't an immigration ban to protect us from terrorism. It's a Muslim ban, and it's unconstitutional. So our amazing Attorney General was able to strike down this ban in federal court. Yeah, let's give a cheer for Bob Ferguson, because he is a hero in this city, I think. I'm proud to live in a city that fights back, and I'm proud to live in the kind of city that appoints heroes like Bob. After Ferguson struck down the ban, Trump tweeted, "See you in court." Since then, he has done nothing but postpone the court proceedings. I've heard he's working on a new executive order between rounds of golf, and I want you all to know that we can kill that one too, and we can win this.
That's right. We can win this.
because there's an important aspect to U.S. law called intent. For example, if a man comes home from a bar drunk and he walks into the wrong apartment, he's going to be treated very differently than the police find a man with a full head mask and a crowbar, because that's the intent of the law. So for any immigration executive order to withstand legal scrutiny, they didn't need to prove that they did not have the intent to discriminate based on religion. Because discriminating based on religion is unconstitutional, and discriminating on a place of birth is in violation of Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965, which specifically states that people should not experience discrimination on account of race, sex, nationality, or place of birth or residence, was what we're talking about. Since Trump is the author of all of this, every Islamophobic thing he's ever said can be brought up in court and used to show discriminatory intent if he appeals this verdict, which he will, and we will knock it down. So stay positive, stay strong, and resist.
Thank you, Nathan.
Resist! 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 Resist!
Thanks, Nathan. Next up, we've got Rachel. Rachel Greenlee on cabinet nominees. And thank you, Rachel, for bringing the tunes this morning to get us started.
Good morning. So we've been out here over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks to talk about how some of the cabinet nominees are not up to the job and not appropriate for the job. And unfortunately, even with despite our senators vote against, they've gone through. But does that mean that we are going to drop the case? No. Does that mean we'll look the other way? No. We are going to continue to resist, because who do they work for?
Us.
Us. They work for us. There are plenty of individuals to discuss, but since my time is limited, today I want to focus on our Attorney General, Tom Sessions. Sessions was confirmed on February 6th, so that's less than 3 weeks ago. And already, let's look at what he's done. So number one, he has been the whisperer in Puppet Trump's ear to rescind federal guidelines allowing transgender students to use the bathroom of their choice. I'm sure many of you know of Laverne Cox, who's both an actress as well as an activist for transgender people. She said, the revoking of this order sends a message that our lives don't matter, that we are second-class citizens, and that we should be treated differently, stigmatized, and shamed. She also said that 77% of transgender students experience harassment or bullying in school. So I looked up what the suicide rate is for these kids, and the general population is 4%. These kids, 41%. Did Sessions get it wrong? Yes. This is not a state decision, this is a civil rights decision. So then, second, just yesterday, the Justice Department, under Sessions' direction, dropped a crucial objection to the Texas ID voter law. And this signals a significant change from the Obama administration on voting rights issues. In 2011, the Republican-led Texas legislature passed one of the toughest voter ID laws across our nation. They required voters to show very specific IDs. Republican lawmakers selected IDs that were most advantageous for Republican-leaning white citizens and disregarded IDs beneficial to minority voters. So, for example, an ID that is acceptable to vote with in Texas is a concealed handgun ID. And yet, it's excluded. You cannot vote with a government-issued ID or a public university ID. They're making it harder for minorities to vote. Our Justice Department was suing Texas to block the law because it discriminated against minorities. But the Justice Department under Trump and Sessions told a judge on Monday that it was withdrawing its claim that Texas enacted the law with discriminatory intent. So this is the second time in a week that Sessions and the administration have retreated from very important civil rights issues. Bear with me. So I think we can all agree we still have a long way to go in this country when it comes to civil rights. So can we go backwards?
No!
Are we going to look the other way? No! No, when it comes to Sessions, when it comes to Pruitt, when it comes to all of these people who've been confirmed, they work for us, and we're going to continue to hold them accountable, and we expect our senators to continue to hold them accountable as well. So let me tell you something we can do. This Saturday at 6 p.m. at Seattle Central College on Capitol Hill, the Black Freedom Front is hosting a Black Lives Matter march. Our outreach team has made sure that Seattle Indivisible members are welcome at the march to provide an ally position to the folks participating in the march. We have up here, for anyone who's interested in taking it, a list of ways to show up when you are white in support of the march. Being an ally is a very serious role, and this information provides you with 10 tips on how, if you're white, you can appropriately participate in this march. Thank you so much. Let's continue to fight.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much, Rachel. And Alex is passing around those sheets with that information. Next up, Tom. Come on up here.
Good morning. Donald Trump has proposed spending $20 billion to build a wall to keep our neighbors from the south out, falsely claiming they're a terrorist threat. They are not. There has not been one terrorist act committed by people crossing our borders to the south. He has proposed an unconstitutional ban on 7 countries in the Mideast. No terrorist has come out of those countries. We are suffering a wave of terrorism in this country right now.
From our government.
We have a shooting of an Indian in Kansas. The response, nothing. We have several hundred threats against Jewish centers around the country. The response, nothing. We have terrorism. I demand a plan from this administration to counter the terrorism that exists. Now, did Trump and Bannon stir up this terrorism? Yes. Are Trump and Bannon bigots? I can't say they are. Yeah, I can say they are. They are promoting bigotry and hatred in our country, and they have not come up with any plan. And where are our senators in response to this internal terrorism? What have they had to say publicly? I say shut it down. Shut down the government. Stop participating. Hold another sit-in on the floor of the House and of the Senate until Trump and Bannon come up with a plan to stop terrorism. Divert some of the $20 billion from the wall and fight our internal terrorism. Speak out against it, not just a few hollow words. Come up with a plan. Direct the Justice Department to come up with a plan. Stop our government until we have a plan to stop this terrorism committed in our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Stop the hate! 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 Thank you. Next up, we've got Tina Eck, who'll be talking about town halls and how they're a critical component of our democracy. Take it away, Tina.
Hi, everybody. You freezing yet? Is the energy warming you up? How many of you were here for the town, not here, but at our town hall Saturday night? Raise your hand. It was an amazing event. There were just about over 650 people there, even though we organized it ourselves when the senators wouldn't. So I want to talk today about why we want our representatives to show up at these town halls. Town halls are a historic tradition, but there's something that our senators and many of our representatives in this state have not regularly done. But it's the best way for large numbers of ordinary constituents to have face-to-face contact with their senators. So some people have said, well, why do you want the Democrats to do it? Don't they have enough on their hands? Do they have to deal with the progressives too? Yes! Well, I want to tell you why I think they should. I think there's three main reasons, okay? First is, not everyone can come to office hours on Tuesday between 11:30 and 1:30 to meet with staff of the senators. I mean, look at the size of this dedicated group compared to the number of people that can come on a Saturday evening. We all need access. They need to hear us. We need to hear them, right?
Yes!
Right?
Yes!
I didn't hear you, right?
Yes!
Okay. Secondly, the second reason I think it is the Democrats are not in power in Washington. They're not going to be able to effectively resist the regressive Trump agenda from Washington. They need us, right?
Yes!
They need the grassroots.
Yes!
Because what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to prioritize. There is an agenda here by the Trump administration to have so much chaos and so much noise that we're too dispersed and our progressive legislators are absolutely exhausted. How many people get their alerts from every news agency on their phone every morning and can't even keep up with the number of pings, right?
Yep.
I mean, a part of that is because Donald Trump has no discipline, but part of this is indeed a tactic. I believe it's a tactic that is organized and driven by Mr. Bannon. Okay? And while we're having to deal with these horrid Muslim ban, while we're dealing with the destruction of our various, environmental agencies, while we are dealing with these nominations that are crazy, while we're dealing with them nominating somebody to run the public schools that has apparently hardly ever even been in a public school, and whose main priority is private education, while they're doing all of that, behind the scenes, what are they doing? They're supposedly deregulating our government. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Destroying it.
It means the safety of our water, the safety of our air, right? Our children's future. That's what it means. I don't know if you saw in the news yesterday, but they said that the budget that's going to be proposed by the Trump administration is probably going to cut back the EPA's budget by 25%. What has President Trump told them to prioritize? He wants to spend our money building a wall, and he said, I want to significantly up the budget for our military. And in order to get that passed through a Republican Congress, he said, cut everything else so that we can spend our money there. So the Democrats and independents are going to have to work hard to help with this prioritization. And they need to know from us what is the most important to us and how we can help them fight what they're doing.
Yep.
Which leads me to the third and final, not final, but my final today, reason of why we want the town halls with the Democratic senators. We want them because we want to help. Patty Murray valiantly stood up as part of the filibuster attempts. But as she said, she's never spent so many all-nighters since she was in college. We're grateful for what our senators are doing, but much more needs to be done to be effective. I myself personally have been involved in Democratic politics since I went to my first Democratic caucus at the age of 17. I've done the rallies, I've done the phone banking, right? I've done the pamphlets, I've done all of those things. It's not enough. For one thing, the parties are not as strong as they used to be. There's a lot of independents. There's a lot of people that can't go to the little clubby meetings, right? So we need meetings with our representatives, not just at coffee klatches, not just for donors, not in small little groups. I have never seen the kind of energy that I see in this movement right now, okay? I went to the Women's March in Washington, D.C., and it was amazing. And everything since in this resistance movement has been amazing. This energy needs to be tapped by those people in Washington, D.C., because we can make the change from here. So we're calling on Patty Murray and Senator Cantwell to have a town hall meeting at their next recess period between April 10th and April 21st. And I want to see all of you there. And in the meantime, Congresswoman Jayapal has scheduled a town meeting for March 6th at 5:30 at Seattle's Town Hall. So I hope you see there too. We like that she's doing this, so support that effort.
And Adam Smith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you. Senators, give us a town hall. 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 And real quick, for the benefit of the people who couldn't make it out here today, we are Facebook live streaming this event, and because we can't do video inside the federal building as policy, unfortunately, I did want to show maybe Tina or Kira, if I could have you come up here and just hold up what we're delivering to our senators today so that everyone gets a chance to see. We've got 2 USBs for each senator with photographs and videos of the town hall. You show everyone here and on the live stream. Beautiful, beautiful, beautifully packaged, by the way, Kira, thank you. And that's what the USB looks like. In case you've never seen the USB. And then we've got piles, hundreds, literally hundreds of comments, questions, concerns that people hand wrote at the town hall that we are delivering today. Wonderful. So before we wrap up and before we go inside to meet with the staffers, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How many of you, raise your hand if you've attended one of these rallies before? Most people. How many this is their first time? Welcome, welcome. How many of you are involved in some kind of Indivisible group or allied group near you? How many are not yet involved? All right, well, today, I'd like to encourage everyone to get involved in an Indivisible group, whether it's Seattle Indivisible, Indivisible East Side, Indivisible North Seattle, and there you go, Edmonds Neighborhood Action Council. There are so many groups of people working right now that need your time, energy, and ideas. I know I also need your support in helping to keep these rallies going and making them even better and more impactful as we continue to fight together. So, I'm sure that many of you have ideas on how to make these events more effective, more fun, maybe with some music, maybe with some hot chocolate. Or maybe you have contacts with community groups that could send speakers or help us diversify our audience. We want to Tuesday, but I think we can do it. So we need your help to do that. So tomorrow night, I'd like to invite all of you to Seattle Indivisible's group action team that helps to put on these rallies. If you've got ideas, if you've got time and energy and you want to share that with us, please come see me afterwards or find more information on seattleindivisible.com. So, with that said, we've got one more announcement. Come on up, Leslie.
I'm unplanned.
I'm going to speak for
I'm going to speak for 1 minute. Today, the House Judiciary Committee is voting on whether or not to investigate Trump's connections to Russia. Because this Judiciary Committee is Republican majority, we expect that they are going to vote against it. Yesterday, I posted on every possible social media for us to call the chairman of that committee and the other members of that committee, both Democrat and Republican. The only Washington representative we have is our junior representative, Pramila Jayapal. Now here's the problem. We need to get organized in this regard, that we need a comprehensive watchdog committee that is following these votes in Washington, D.C., so that I don't feel like the day before the vote, I have to post on social media that we should start calling. We should have been calling them for the last month. We should have had 5,000 people outside their office today. Okay? That is how you're going to get things done, to keep the pressure on. Because if one by one, these committees continue to vote against an investigation into Trump's link to Russia, it is an international cover-up. You switch the name Trump with Hillary Clinton, and what do you think they'd be doing? So I'm calling on all of you. It's your responsibility to educate yourselves, to stay informed, to put together watchdog committees that can help us all stay on top of this, so we are more effective in our calls, in our organization, in our ability to show up at offices all over the nation to demand this investigation. The more they vote against it, the less likely it's going to happen. And I will tell you, it's not going to happen 2 years from now when we retake the Senate. It's got to happen now when the witnesses and the evidence are fresh, not 2 years from now. So we have to keep the pressure on for this investigation. Thank you.
Investigate, 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 investigate. Thank you. We've got a sign-up sheet here if you'd like to speak at the next rally. We're always looking for speakers. And we do have that sign-in sheet flowing around, so please make sure that we get it back before we wrap up here. So, before we go in, let's finish up with a loud and clear message to our senators who can help us do all of this. Don't compromise, senators. Resist. Resist. Don't accommodate. Resist. Don't negotiate.